Hey, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Happy Thursday, December 11th, 2025. It is almost the end of the year and just the holidays. Christmas will be here in like 2 weeks. And so I hope everyone's getting ready. I was just telling my returning guest that's going to be coming on shortly about how it's so fast and with Thanksgiving and then Christmas is here. So, but I hope everyone's get to enjoy these next few weeks preparing for the holidays. So, but before we get started, hit my music. Let's get it. All right. Once again, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with a new and exciting episode to end the week. I got my returning podcast family back on the show. But before I bring her on, you can follow the show on all the podcast platforms, whether it's Spotify, Apple. We're also on YouTube, BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com, BS3 Network, Roku channel as well. You can accept follow on all those platforms, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, wherever you consume podcasts. We are there. And you can follow me on all the social media platforms, most active on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also have a Blue Sky and TikTok, trying to get into both of those. So all those social media platforms as well. But let me bring in my guest here. Like I said, returning guest. This is podcast family back on the show. She's been on multiple times on the show, and we always have a great time, great conversations. And I've been on her show a few times as well. So she's a sports writer, analyst, podcaster herself, producer as well. And she is a sports writer and analyst for a new company, or the Sports Forum. So we're going to get into all of that as well. Can't ready to catch up with her. Erin Mulligan, welcome back to the show. Really appreciate it.
Hi, Courtney. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for doing this. Every time I ask you, we just pick a date. You're like, yes, let's do it, and I appreciate that, and appreciate you always coming on and being game about it. And like I said, you've been busy. You've been busy throughout these last few months as well. You said you was also producing other shows, and part of the sports forum as well. So glad to have some time with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun and new experiences and everything. I've been doing some work with the Sports Forum, and they sent me to a Red Bulls game, so that was probably like the highlight of
Yeah.
the last few months. It was a really great experience, and I know I had never been in a press conference or anything before, so that was really exciting, and to be so close to the players, and everybody was so nice and really gracious over there with the Red Bulls. So that was great. And I'm producing editing a new podcast, and that's been really fun. And just continuing to try to build my resume.
Yeah, you keep building and doing a lot of good, like I said, doing a lot of great things. And I see your lives pop up, and you guys are talking about all the, sports news and and things like that. So I love seeing that. Love seeing you staying busy content wise. And as you said, been in a press conference for the first time. And that was a great experience as well. And getting those opportunities, because I know the last time me and you both we were talking about this opportunities and the business in itself of just the podcasting, and not just that sports reporting, things like that, how it's a difficult business to break into, and just trying to do things different, try to find our lane and everything too. So it's good that this sports media realm is, you said you're getting opportunity. That's the best thing to get, is those opportunities, taking advantage of them.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think a good word to describe the sports industry is brutal, but
Yes.
in a good way too, because it teaches
Mhm.
us a lot of lessons.
Yes.
It's very competitive, and so when you get those opportunities, it's kind of you just feel really grateful and just kind of overjoyed that someone let you take that chance and took a chance on you. So yeah, I've just felt really grateful. And I think just in this industry, you have to continue to somewhat evolve and keep learning different things to make you a little bit more unique that will seem intriguing to the viewers, but also employers. And it's just kind of a fine balance.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's, as you said, it can be brutal. It can be it's tough. Like I said, super competitive because there's so many people are trying to get those same opportunities, and what stands out. And you know, there's a lot of things when it comes to sports media journalism that are good and bad, and with that competitiveness. But you know, we try, like I said, find our lane and try, and you know, with our viewers and fans that likes our that you know follow and like our you know our content. We're grateful for those opportunities as well. So yeah, so congrats on that for sure. But let's start there. Let's talk about how you got into the sports forum. And you said they saw, they reached out to you and everything too. And just to talk about what it is. I mean, it's a credential sports media company covering all sports, betting, and everything else as well nationwide. So so talk about how you got into the sports forum.
Yeah, it kind of started out of desperation because I just wanted an opportunity from somebody, and I was just scrolling through LinkedIn, and I had seen Riggs he runs the sports forum.
Yeah.
I saw his name pop up, and it was an older post, I guess, from a few weeks ago, before I saw it, saying that they were looking for someone. And so it said that the job was no longer open, but I just messaged him just in case. And he said, let's talk anyway. And then kind of went from there. And then he immediately pretty much got me onto shows. And we had been doing weekly shows. I spoke about the NFL, golf. And then we would usually do like a Sunday live show where we discussed about bets going into those games that day. And it really has opened my eyes to the betting world because I wasn't very familiar with it.
Okay.
And it kind of forced me to learn more about it. And now I kind of understand what they're talking about on TV. And I just understand it more because I think it's kind of a rising industry almost in itself.
Yeah.
And if you use it properly, it's fun and it's great. And I just think a lot of people are getting into it now. And it's a little more accessible than it had been in prior years. So people are really into it, and I've learned a lot about it. And I'm just really grateful to Riggs for giving me so many opportunities to work with them.
Absolutely. And then you talked about earlier about evolving and doing those things. And like I said, now getting into more of the sports betting, which is, like you said, is huge as well. I'm really into sports betting and I do some sports betting on the side. And but it's something, if you said to evolve in that, it is a learning experience with something like that. And especially the way it has grown over the years. It really has grown through the pandemic when there was no sports, and then there was only a little bit of sports during that time in 2020, 2021, golf being one of them. That's how I got into the golf betting through that. Yeah. It would go, I was like, okay, well, can't bet on football. Well, football wasn't even then started yet, but basketball, all sports were shut down at that time. And there was only a couple of sports you could bet on, UFC and golf. And so I said, get into, I do like golf a little at that time, not too much, didn't follow as much, but then I started getting into it and learning and listening to a lot of different podcasts and trends and things like that. So it was like, hey, this is okay. Now I've been addicted and love it. I listen to all types of different things. I've had a lot of different golf betting, podcasters and experts and things like that. So we talk about those things during the majors and everything. So I get excited about that. So I'm a huge of that too. And I saw that you guys were doing that, talking a little bit about golf, talking golf and things like that too. So I jumped on and been listening too. So getting tips and things like that too. So yeah, it's like I said, just talks about your evolving in this industry.
Yeah, you're pretty much forced to. And I didn't really want anything to do with betting. I think probably because I just didn't understand it. And I was never really overly exposed to it. It was obviously always a thing, but I also think with the amount of apps out there now
Mm,
and companies, you can pick whichever company you like best
yeah.
or use as many as you want, really. So it's just very accessible. But yeah, with evolving, I pretty much had to learn about it. And I think now I can even say that on my resume, and that's for anybody. If you're not familiar with a specific area of an industry, maybe just try it out because it might open more opportunities, and that's what
Right.
happened. And so it's just it you might not like something, but just try it out, I think would be the best thing in this industry, especially.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. And that just shows if someone asks, if you're in this industry, any type of sports or journalism, not even sports, but journalism, news, media, and they ask you, hey, will you learn how to, if you want to cover hockey, you want to cover golf, you want to cover all these different things, doesn't hurt to study and research and figure it out, and then have others help you out, and then next thing you know, you're covering that sport and
Yeah,
everything too. So I think it's always good to have that versatility in this
yeah.
industry, for sure. But so speaking of that, let's with golf in itself, getting ready to head into the new year 2026. That's when it really starts picking up. What do you expect for next year coming up in 2026 in golf? It don't have to be from the betting side, or it can be just any golfers that you have your eyes on that you think could either make the jump, or will Scotty Scheffler just dominate again throughout the entire year? Is Scotty and then everybody else who's playing for, being golfer of the year for like second place, your Roy McIlroys and your Bryson DeChambeaus and others. But what do you think of this upcoming 2026 year?
Well, I'm glad that we're talking about it now because just pretty much yesterday, news started blowing up surrounding Brooks Koepka and his future on the Live Tour. So I think that's going to be something huge to pay attention to going into 2026 because he was always this big Live guy and was very adamant about his transition
Yep.
to the tour. And now he might leave. He might give up, this last year of his contract. And Liv wasn't exactly denying it. He has these different opportunities because of his accomplishments. So he is eligible to play in majors, but can't play on the PGA Tour quite yet.
Yeah.
But because of those accomplishments, he can serve his 12-month PGA suspension and then potentially join the PGA again in 2027. So that's really something to look at because I just think it kind of says a lot about Liv. Is it going downhill? What are his issues with it? And then it kind of comes into, well, what's Bryson's take on all of this? Because they haven't always seen eye to eye, the two of them, and it's always been a rivalry / friendship, love, hate. But now I think Bryson will become the full-on face of Liv, and
Yeah.
that should be interesting to look at. But I do think Scotty is going to dominate once again, and it might sound boring, but I think it's fascinating. He's kind of the Tom Brady of golf now, and we're witnessing history constantly, just watching him, which is exciting and thrilling. And I just love his swing because it's so unconventional. People always think, and I wonder how little kids are taught in golf. You have to be perfect, your hips have to be exact, and that's true because if you slightly move your hips, you might shank it. But Scotty,
Yeah.
his feet go in all sorts of directions when he hits his driver, and you don't really see that often in the pros. So I love that, and I think we never know what's going to come with Rory. So he's the entertainment always, and
Yep.
I think it's going to be good. We're going to see a lot of JJ Spawn, I think, this year.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. He had a pretty good year this year as
Mhm.
well. And just to go off what you said about Brooks Koepka may skip the 2026 Live golf season. It's interesting because when Live Golf came on the scene, and it was offering a lot of money and hundreds of millions of dollars. And a lot of people lot of golfers from the PGA Tour went over there, a lot of big names. And I think it hasn't really worked out. They got their money, and then for somebody like Brooks Koepka, maybe not that success. And and it is, as golf fans, me and you as golf fans, we want to see the best versus the best. We want to see, we get to see that now 4, maybe 5 times with the majors, and maybe exceptions, but mostly just the majors, 4 majors. And now seeing you said if Koepka, if he skips the season, the 2026 live season out of his contract, and he goes into back to the PGA Tour, how many other people are going to do as you said? Is it going to be Bryson DeChambeau? Will it be others? So I don't know. You got Dustin Johnsons and all the other big names. Will that be the norm now that live is not what it was cracked up that they thought it was going to be? And interesting too with that, a lot of those golfers, they were saying, well, there was different opportunities. I mean, at the end of the day, it was be real about it. Now, some of the golfers said it was for the money. It's like, we can't pass up this type of money. I don't think it would have been any problem if a lot of them would have just said, oh, I'm getting $300 million. Yeah, I'm doing this for the money. I want to do this for the money. It's not because it wasn't for the competition, because the competition, the best competition is in the PGA Tour. Right. And we see that. So, but if they would have said, hey, this is generational wealth, I'm maybe the back end of my career, kind of like Sergio Garcia, maybe guys like that, so I'm doing it. I'm doing this for the money. And I think we wouldn't have had no problem with it. So now you say Brooks maybe want to go back into the competition wise, and it hasn't worked out, collect this money. And now I want to play more. I want to play on more tours and, with the PGA. So maybe that's one of the reasons why he wants to do it.
Yeah, I really do wonder, because at one point it did seem like it was all about the money, and it was so obvious. It was something kind of one of those unsaid rules that nobody talks about, that yes, everybody went there for the money, and then they slowly, one by one, some of them were like, well, how could I turn it down?
Right.
Well, how could you even say no? And then they would say stuff like being with their family more. And I get that, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
It's a different schedule. It's less demanding. Fine.
Yep.
But if you just said that, I think some drama would have been avoided, because some probably new fans to golf have no idea what the drama was like when the moves took place and it was created. It was insane. I felt like I was watching a reality show. Bryson, Brooks, Rory, and Tiger, they hated each other, it seemed like. And I mean, it was entertaining. It was probably good for the game. Yeah. But now I really do wonder if the money was not as satisfying. I mean, I can't imagine it not be that satisfying. I wonder if for someone like Brooks, he just needs that competition more. I don't know. Yeah. It's really, really interesting. I'm excited to see if he'll speak out on it soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing. You said you got now John Rahm, he said himself, it was for family, and I'm getting this money. Like, I think he had got one of the biggest contracts, one of the best players, to today's game for sure. But you had, I mean, he's a former Grand Slam winner, and everything too. So it makes you wonder. Like, he just flat out said, yeah, I'm doing it. Yes, money wise, but then he didn't know the backlash came even after, because with all those guys are leaving the PGA Tour during that time. It was just more of, and even he talked about it was a lot of mental health issues and the things like that, because he said it was that decision was, I did it for the money, and as you said, it might have not been as satisfying for some of these guys as well, like Phil Mickelson. He money wise, and he's an older player, so he's like, hey, they offer me whatever his contract was, one of the biggest contracts too. He took it, and like I said, I don't fault them for it. If they want to do it for the money, I just said, just be more transparent and real about it. Just say, hey, I did that for the money. He said, I want to have more time with my family, whatever it is. Not just, it's the competition. It's, we heard that it's another opportunity. And and everything too. But he said it was more like a reality show kind of way, and it wasn't, it wasn't even shown on TV and the first season and everything too. So, but yeah, it was just yeah, and it was mostly a money grab for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And even to this day, I mean, Live gets a lot of attention, but the viewership is still very different between
Very low,
PGA
yeah.
tournaments and Live competitions. And I think just people are used to traditional golf more so as the format of Live. So if you're trying to get into golf, you're just probably going to naturally watch PGA tournaments, and people are going to tell you to watch PGA tournaments.
Yep.
And obviously the majors too, which is traditional golf, and that's not how it is at Live. They do a lot of team competitions, and it's just very different. So I think this whole time I was always wondering how long Liv would survive, and it's just not as likable.
Yeah, and if others, like I said, follow Brooks leading into, they want to go back to the, to play more in the competition, it makes you wonder how much longer Live is going to be. And I haven't heard any news about, they were trying to work things out to maybe combine, but I know that's going to take some time. So Live could just be. We'll see in the next couple of years if it's still going. But if others are thinking the same thing as Brooks is, then they could only last a few more years. But I did see Siwoo Kim yesterday. There were rumors that he could actually be heading over there, but now they're saying there's a newspaper out of Korea is reporting that four-time PGA Tour winner Siwoo Kim has decided to remain on the PGA Tour following an offer from Liv. This is from his team as well. There was late stage negotiations, but then so we'll see how what happens there if that's true. If he still may go just stay on the PGA Tour. So we'll see if other names will go to Live or just stay with the tour, stay with the PGA Tour, because this season was exciting, as you said. Even though Scotty Scheffler dominated most of the season, even coming off of an injury, and he still came back and was winning at a high rate. One of the best seasons we've ever seen since Tiger Woods' dominance. I can't see Scotty falling at all heading into, as you said, heading into this next season. As definitely the odds-on favorite to win almost every major.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He has the right mentality, and he gets criticized for that all the time, how golf isn't his number one priority. But sometimes I think maybe that's necessary, because the way he speaks reminds me a lot of Patrick Mahomes, of even Derek Jeter, because they kind of knew, yes, their identity to the world was their sport, but it's not end all. So I think that kind of took a lot of pressure off of him. And I just think there's no way he's going to fall off. And I really, just to say really quick, I hope we see a bounce back from Victor Hovland and Wyndham Clark, because they didn't have the seasons that they were expected to this year. Yeah. And there's a lot of young guys coming up too that are very exciting. So, Neil Shipley, I love watching him. So Chris Goddard too.
Yeah, Goddard. Yep.
Talent.
Yeah, Goddard is definitely a talent, and Goddard had some especially early in the year. Just remember seeing his name a lot, and up leaderboards and things like that too. Yeah. So the PGA. I'm looking forward to seeing. I'll do my more research on heading into 2026. Maybe we'll do like a like I said, we always doing shows. Maybe during the majors, I always do majors and then things like that too, and even certain other tournaments. But during the majors, I have you on, and we'll talk maybe some of our favorites and things like that. I know you do that on your other show too. So look forward to that. So all right, let's transition to some football. Got to talk your New York Giants. I know it's not the year and don't want to downer on it, but. Giants got some optimism. They got some young talent, especially like QB, running back, and receiver as well. Just now, they fired a coach. But what's your take on this season? It's been so. And it's a bad year, another bad year. But you said fire Dable, but like I said, have some talent. But have talent, but now they're injured. Scatterboo's out, Neighbors is out as well. But you you got talent at a lot of good positions. But what's your optimism for upcoming for the New York Giants? What do we have to do? I know it starts at the top. I saw you talked about that on your show about it starts at the top, GM, and maybe he should be let go as well. But what's your optimism going into next season?
I have optimism, and I I probably wouldn't have said that in past years, but I probably do just because I'm delusional sometimes, as all fans of failing teams are. But there is legitimate potential and talent here, and it just has to be managed properly, which does come from the top, and that's ownership. There has seemed to be almost a lack of discipline within the past few years from ownership to the coaching staff and GM, and that really does start with the Saquon trade. It kind of forces you to lose trust in your team as a fan and as a player as well. So I just think if it's properly managed, right, I think it was time for Dable to go and just move on. I don't think he's a bad coach. Just for some reason it was not working here. And the play calling, I don't know. I always struggled with the timing of letting Dable go because the play calling wasn't being done by him. It was being done by Kafka. So he's now the interim coach, and it's the same deal. So it's just that was all very interesting to me. But it's a sense of management, and I'm very confused by the defense because they're good and they have potential. It just doesn't get executed on the field. And it makes me sad for someone like Brian Burns, who deserves to be on an outstanding team, on a winning team. And his teammates just can't kind of mesh with him to get that done. So it's just very confusing. But, we've got Dart and Scatterboo, and they never showed really any true weakness. Of course, Dart is a rookie, and you can't really have unrealistic expectations for a rookie quarterback. So I think he's done as well as a rookie could do. And he's faced a lot of adversity, right? It's been, again, a rotating just quarterback door over there because of injury and because Wilson did not pan out the way that the Giants thought he would. So I feel like he's pretty much faced every situation you could throughout a career in his first year. So I'm very confident in him, and he's very close off the field with Scatterboo. So I think that will show on the field next year as well as it did this year. So there's a lot of things to be excited about. It's just, how's it going to be managed? And I think it's pretty much all up to the coaching staff and ownership and what they have Joe Shane do in the draft and the offseason.
I 100% agree on that. Just, as just a fan of the NFL, about how it's managed. I agree with that that statement, because I think it starts at the top, and you've seen what the past years of the Giants. It was always the players. It was mostly management and coaching. And they've had talent, and they let go talent. Yes, they let go of Saquon and everything too. But they've had, and then now they're building talent. Scatterboo and Dart seems like you said, that's the future. And they were playing well. They were playing well. They were playing pretty well. It wasn't the results most of the time, but you saw that it was. There's something building there with the QB, with the running back. Scatterboo blows it was a knee or Achilles. I think it was the ACL. I believe it was his knee. Yeah, but it was because it was here in Philly. It was ACL. So out for the year, out probably most of next year at least. Malik Neighbors, same thing, injury as well. But then you said Jackson Dart's dealing with concussions, but it's just the way he plays and everything too. I know that'll have to scale back because he won't have a long career if he does. I know he talked about that at his press conference. It's not soccer. I play with passion. I play with aggressiveness and things like that, which I think is fine because it's football. It's a physical sport, but you got to protect yourself too. So you just got to be just a little bit smarter, and over years he'll learn that. as well. You got to protect yourself because you don't want to, have those concussions constantly. He's had multiple now just in his rookie year as well. So he'll definitely learn how to slide and all those things. That just comes with experience and protects. If not, you're not going to be playing full seasons for sure and everything. So especially if the team wants to make that investment on that QB position with him as well. But you're right. And I think on the defensive side, they've just blown leads most of a lot of the season. And then talent's there, like you said, it's just more of blowing lead. They had the lead and the defense couldn't hold for the most part. So yeah, there is optimism to be I'm sure as a Giants fan, there's optimism, and it's just the way how it's managed moving forward. I think that's the big key.
Yeah, and I just do want to compliment you really quick because when Scalaboo did go down and was carted off, the Eagles fans were very nice.
Yes,
and actually, I found that to be very moving because it's very rare between the two teams, and it showed a little bit of unity there. So that was
that was very and I'm glad they did because I don't wish injury on no one at all because that's just poor taste and everything too. But yes, Eagle fans and Giants fans, NFC East fans, I should say, has a tendency to boo and cheer for those types of things. It's like, no, don't do that. But I think Eagles fans respected the way Scatterwood was playing. He was a hard nose. I mean, the way you guys tore us up and earlier in the year.
It was shocking.
Yeah. I mean, out physical. Like that was a physical game, and the Giants just out physical. Yes, the Eagles returned the favor the next time around, but I think the Eagles fans had no choice but to respect how Scatterboo and Jackson Dart was playing as well. I mean, they took it to us in East Rutherford, took it right to us. So, but yeah, it was. But I'm glad. But I'm glad to see. Maybe the Jay said they just got to get coaching wise. Anybody that you have who you would like to have? Do you want a younger coach? Do you want a coach with some experience? Someone that that will be able to be that can manage this team as well. But you said it starts at the top. But who do you think? Any names or anything that you're looking for as a new coach?
I want an old school guy who will yell at them and make them run laps and be disciplined. So I want John Gruden or Mike McCarthy. I think those two guys. I know Mike McCarthy seems a little bit more reserved than Gruden, but as a coach, I think they're pretty comparable. I want a guy like that because I think the Giants just do well with more discipline. And now, like the way you said they played against the Eagles, that was that little glimpse of what the future could look like. Yeah. Of course the Eagles aren't having the season that everybody expected, right? They're Super Bowl champions and everything. But the Giants on paper were not supposed to do well at all against them.
Right.
So that was really that was a huge statement. And the way that Jackson Dart and Scatterboo play is extremely old school. And I think we need to bring that back to the Giants because it's been lost in past years. Even when you watch the defense tackling sometimes, past few years again, and even this year, it's almost like they're scared. And I get it because of the amount of penalties that the refs give. There's really no justice given to defensive players. And so I think this kind of old school, gritty, old football mentality should just take over the facility and get it done. I mean, of course, I would love an old player to be coach because I feel like that's a little more common to be done in baseball as opposed to the NFL where they kind of look at your resume a little bit more. But so, I mean, if it was an older player, I would love Carl Banks. I would love LT, someone like that to just come in there. I know Eli's probably not interested in it right now, but I think someone who would really just give it right back to them. Not that anybody's mouthing off, but just say, like, this is an unacceptable way to tackle. Nobody tackles anymore, really. No. And any team, it's not a proper tackle. We've seen it multiple times, and sometimes games are lost because of that. So it's like they're scared to completely wrap their arms around a guy and they just like tap them, and they're like, "Oh, what did I do wrong?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is football." So someone who's really like that. So I'm really hoping for Gruden or McCarthy. Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I'd say those two.
Some more, yeah, old school, and they might need, you said, that discipline type of coach that would old school mentality to get, because like I said, they're building something, they're trying to build something now, and it looks good on paper. I'll say that, and there's been some decent results, maybe not wins, but there's been decent results on the field. A lot of some other things are happening, but even when Dable was coaching them, and I agree with you on Dable, uh, it was time. I thought it was time last year. I thought maybe they was get
Yes.
him and the GM, but they tried to give him another opportunity. It wasn't all his fault. I agree with that too,
No.
because he had a good relationship. He was building something with Dart, with Scatterboo, and with Neighbors as well. So he was building something on the offensive side. I just felt like he was a sitting duck. He was just a lame duck when they brought him back, and it was just only a matter of time before it's like, okay, enough is enough. We're not. I mean, you guys would have been 10-2 at this point, or 11-3 or something. You guys would have to be somewhere at 11-3, something like that, for him to keep his job. But it was just only a matter of time. It just happened to be in mid-season that they got rid of him, which I felt like they had to let him go earlier than that, before the season started, or right after last season. But yeah, they had to be a coach that has the respect, and has, like I said, I agree with you, an old school mentality. Or if they did get somebody young, someone like that would be an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, someone that has that will discipline the team, will be able to discipline the team as well. So we'll see I'm sure you're just waiting for this season to end and say, okay, here's the off season. Let's see what we can get, coaching wise, what leadership's going to look like, and heading to the draft. So, and free agency. So, we'll see how the Giants, what they do in the next 4 or 5 months coming up as well. So I'm looking forward to see what that is all pans out. But I want to talk a little bit about the podcast that you're doing with Time Out with Cindy and Erin. I enjoy that podcast. Shout out to Cindy Walker of the Collaborative as well. You're part of the Collaborative as well. So you guys are. Do seem like weekly now. You guys are doing it, or every other week. I see it pop up on Instagram Live, and I try to pop in as much as I can. And you guys talk about a little everything too, NBA and NFL and things like that. Gambling that's going on in NBA. You guys talk about a little bit of that. So talk about the podcast Time Out with Cindy and Erin.
Yeah, thank you. We always see your name pop up, and
Yeah,
we appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, our goal is to do it monthly, if we can't do it more, and it's just fun because it's basically us just verbalizing our text to each other.
yeah.
And so we started to kind of shift to an Instagram Live as opposed to just recording over Zoom and then uploading it onto Spotify. I think it's been a little bit more traction that we've got from people watching, and if they're not tuning in live, then we see it in the views later on that they are listening afterwards whenever they can. And it's just fun because it's kind of like we're able to do whatever we want. And we have touched upon, I mean, we do focus a lot on the NFL and then a lot on golf because we both do love golf. And we get into reality TV as well and pop culture, which is a lot of fun. And we're just very grateful that we have friends in each other that love all those topics, because you're not going to always find someone who loves football, golf, and the housewives.
Yes, what a combination. Yes. The NFL, golf, and housewives. That can be a show in itself.
Yes.
In NFL, because the NFL and golf are, as we talked about just in our topics, entertaining. And has some pop culture and that and you got housewives that I'm sure some of the NFL players in golf are watching it and everything too, and so why not reality TV? Why not?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun though. It's cool. I mean, I've never done Instagram lives as much as I have with her. And so it's an interesting, I guess, format to learn about and just to use and experiment with.
Yes, absolutely. And then I haven't done Instagram Live in a while. I like Instagram Live too. And I do enjoy it. I gotta get back on doing some lives because I was doing those a lot as well. Just like I said, it's another platform to use your voice and to present your podcast. Just a different, different demographic too, because some people don't have, maybe they can't catch it on like a YouTube or Spotify or anything like that, but they could catch it on like Instagram Live, Facebook Live. I think TikTok has live now too. I've been getting that, so maybe I'll try TikTok Live as well. I haven't touched on. I do Facebook. The show goes right through Facebook Live as well. So, and I've done Instagram Live. So yeah, it's just a different way to present your content. I think it's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I don't know. I find if I'm driving or I have to be somewhere, I try to watch Pat McAfee every day, and if I can, I watch it after. And if I can catch it live, I don't know. It seems easier to me to watch it on TikTok live as opposed to YouTube, especially if you don't have, say, like I have Verizon. So if I can't get on the Verizon app, it kind of gives me issues sometimes if I'm moving. But on TikTok Live, in the car, but on TikTok Live, it's just a little easier. And it's interesting to see all the comments at the same time. But you also have the option to shut those off. So all these different ways of going live are really interesting. And I think it's cool to just see the differences between all of them and just make your video or content accessible to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. And I want to do one more topic. Kind of, we're talking reality TV and things like that. But Michigan football and their coach. Yes, I know we were talking before we start recording. More news has come up. So Sharon Moore now fired a couple of days ago, and now jailed after abrupt firing. Now, and so a lot of things is coming out with this story as it unfolds. Me and my wife was just talking about this yesterday, and I said, there's got to be more coming up. This was yesterday. And now today, as we're recording, I'm looking at the Yahoo Sports saying, his wife and alleged mistress were following each other on Instagram, being rumored. So more layers to this story. What's your take on this? As you said, you do pop culture, reality TV. This is almost like a reality TV type of thing. But what's your opinion and takes on this? I know you guys will probably talk about this next week on your show too. But and I'm sure more news is going to be coming out of Michigan's former coach.
Yeah, I immediately I said, as if Michigan needed any more problems.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they're still not over. What was it, 2 years ago? It's just awful. And I actually didn't even connect the dots where at one point we thought he was this emotional, family-oriented, team-first guy when we saw him crying on national television when they won the week Coach Harbaugh was suspended and couldn't, coach, obviously, and he was put as the head coach. And people loved him, and people were like, wow, look at how much he loves his team and loves Harbaugh. And now here we are. And it's quite the scandal, to say the least. I think I really feel so bad for his wife. I feel bad for his kids. He's completely ruined the image that his kids have of him and will have. It's worse to be a public figure when you're committing these things. I mean, he broke his wedding vows, and I think it's very interesting to watch everyone's reactions, and they're getting offended that the girl is being outed. And I said, you know what? Yeah, I mean, she's young and this is sad, but they both knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they're both at fault, but I think he made it worse because, I was watching Pat McAfee, and I just found it really interesting how they put up a timeline, and he seemed to have had an argument with his wife because his life was crumbling, and he was dismissed of his duties at Michigan and had to ultimately, confess to his wife. if she didn't know beforehand. And now he's being charged. Now he's been arrested, and it's just an awful situation because he broke into this girl's house and threatened himself and her. So he progressively made the situation worse. He's obviously not mentally stable, and it's a really sad situation.
Yeah, very sad. And I was just reading some of the things that he said he first timeline he was fired as Michigan's football coach. Just at first it was he was in custody in county jail on Wednesday night as a suspect in an alleged assault just hours after he was fired as Michigan's football coach for having what the school was said was an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. And then, as you said, it just now has spiraled out. I knew there was going to be more. It wasn't just going to be the firing. You said Michigan doesn't need any of this type of publicity at all. And now it's. He said he's not mentally stable. There's a lot of different things that total a lot of different things he's done wrong. And he said broken his marriage and all those things. That's the important thing. His mental, and then breaking his that bond that he had in marriage. On top of that, so they feel like he's appears to be no ongoing threat to the community. It says so. That's it's. I'm sure more is going to come out of this for sure.
For sure. And I actually did have a problem, though, with the initial statement from Michigan. I don't know if I agreed with how they worded the reasoning of dismissing him, because at first I interpreted it as him having a relationship with a girl underage. And they said inappropriate. But then, you start to wonder, okay, well, if she was a staff member, then she's got to be over 18. So I think maybe they could have worded it a little differently, but either way, it's just an awful, awful situation. I'm not sure how old she actually is, but she's definitely significantly younger than him. But thankfully of age, I guess. And it's just very, very messy. Also,
very messy.
I think not only has he ruined his family, but DeBoer at Alabama, he's in this conversation too that he might become the next head coach, and then that puts the Michigan staff in jeopardy because he's going to want to bring all his guys to Michigan.
And
I mean, that really goes for any big named head coach, whether they want to take someone from, I don't know, any other big school. Maybe even they're going to want someone. I mean, I thought Dable maybe. I don't know if he wants to tackle all of this, but I think he would be a good college head coach. But anyways, I don't know who's going to want to step into this position, but anyone that is a big name is going to want to bring at least a few of their own staff members.
Yeah.
So he's also now put his own coaching staff, their lives and their livelihood and careers in jeopardy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and then you're right. If whoever takes this job is gonna have to know, okay, is this a toxic situation, environment? Before whoever takes the job, before they even bring their staff. And you're right, someone like Ryan Dable, I know he was up for the Penn State job. I know that was a rumor, right? Right. I mean, as soon as he got let go by the Giants, they were talking about that. And but yeah, this is an ongoing story. You said, and you're right. Just to give a headline, it says Michigan head coach. This is what a statement that the school did. Michigan was let go, terminated with cause effective immediately. Investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. The university investigated this. They investigated this earlier in the year, in the fall, after receiving a tip about the situation, but did not find credible evidence or wrongdoing. But now is overwhelming evidence that they found. So he only spent 2 seasons at Michigan, 39 years old. So after serving as the team's offensive coordinator. So yeah, it's gotten messy. It's a messy situation, and we'll see what happens moving forward with this. And it's during the holiday season too. So this is It's sad. It's very, very sad, for sure. All right, we got a Nathan Ramasandra from Nathan Sports Rush. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate the shout outs as well. If you got an opinion on this Michigan scandal, let us know, or anything else before we get going, and anything too. But Erin, anything else you have in mind? Any other topics you want to discuss before I let you go? I know we touched on a lot with golf, football, and everything too. But anything else you want to shout out, or anything for the end of the year and then heading into the new year?
I mean, I don't know. I think this has been a really wild NFL season, but very entertaining. And now we've got Phillip Rivers down in Indianapolis.
Yes. Yeah.
And we'll see what happens on Sunday. Between him and Rodgers, we've got two really old quarterbacks. And
yeah,
I mean, as far as Rodgers goes, he's playing with a broken wrist, which I think makes him even cooler. And sometimes he looks like he's in his 20s or 30s. And I hope we see the same from Rivers.
Yeah, and then the thing with Rivers, yes, he's out of retirement, 45 years old. He's been retired for 4 years. I know they talk about all the kids he has. So,
yes.
That was a big running joke of all the multiples of kids. And but now he's back, got him a contract. Now the Colts are playing for a playoff spot now. So we'll see if he has anything left in the tank. It's a wait and see. It's hard to say if he does or if he doesn't, but he's been removed from football for 4 years, so that's going to be tough. But Rodgers did joke and saying, well, I'm not the oldest player in the league anymore. So he said kudos to him coming back. And you got even Joe Flacco, too, who's backup now for the Bengals. Mm-hmm. That would now with the Bengals. So it's going to be interesting with Joe Burrow back. So it's going to be interesting to see these older guys. And then Cam Newton, he was upset that the Colts called Phillip Rivers and not him. So does he want to make a comeback? It must be. So all these older players, I think he's in his late 30s. So all these older players now, they want to continue to play. I mean, there's no harm in it and everything too. So you just got to be careful of taking those hits at that old of an age, and you've been retired for a couple of years. That's the concerning thing about it. Their safety, and their body, their health. We'll see what Phillip Rivers still, if he has anything left in the tank.
Yeah, I thought he looked better than I expected out of the footage that came out of his first and today his second practice. I don't know. I think he's really happy just to be back, because he said it was a difficult decision, but I think he's excited. And yeah, really good point. I mean, I made a TikTok yesterday because I was like, let me just research a little bit about the O-line, because the O-line is vital for these older quarterbacks.
Yes.
And Pro Football Network ranked the Colts as having the 7th best O-line in the league, and then the Steelers with the 4th best. So that makes sense, and I think that's great as a fan, just to see that they have highly ranked O-lines for these older quarterbacks, because your average sack is most likely going to affect them more than a younger quarterback, just because their body, I mean, I don't even want to say this, but they are more fragile. I don't mean that in a rude way, but
right.
They're older and they can't take the hits as well. Literally, we have Rodgers is very, very beaten up, right? He had his nose a few weeks ago and his wrist.
Look like a boxer.
Yes, that's
look like,
exactly. So yeah, it'll be very fascinating, and I don't think there's ever been a grandfather quarterback before. So
I don't think so either.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how he performs these last 4 weeks of the season, and can he get the Colts for one back? Because at that, about 3-4 weeks ago, the Colts were one of the best teams, and now they have slipped a little bit. And Daniel Jones was playing with multiple injuries, and then now the Achilles tear, which I really feel bad.
Yeah.
I definitely felt bad for him, because he was having a really, really good year. And he was playing for a contract, and then so we'll see if, I know the coach said that they'll look into all that as well, but now he's going to be missing a whole year next year, because at the end of the year that he's had that major injury now. But we'll see if Phillip Rivers can he save the day as a grandfather, as you said. I don't know. We'll see. Father Time always wins usually. So yeah. So I'm surprised they didn't try to call Brady back or anybody else. But
I know.
you know,
How did they get to him? I don't really know what the process was like. I'm really looking forward to hearing from whoever made that decision.
yeah, I know he's played there before, so
Yeah.
he knows that system and that team environment. But you're right, the offensive line is very vital for especially for someone like him, as an older quarterback. And the coaches for years have had a really good offensive line, one of the best offensive lines in football over the years. So yeah, they got to protect them for sure. Keep them upright, keep them healthy because one bad shot could really end it.
Yes.
I'm end it for his football career. That's
Right. Yeah.
let me say that, not in his life, but in his football career. And he's like, well. I'm really done. No,
Yeah.
I'm
Done
really
for good.
retired. Yeah, I'm done for good. Yes, for sure. But Erin, it's always a pleasure catching up with you. I really appreciate the time, as always. And but let everyone know they can follow you on social media, follow the podcast, what you got coming up next, and things like that. So the floor is yours.
Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Erin_Mulligan 23, and follow the collaborative to see Time Out with Sydney and Erin. I think that was our last one for the year, so we'll be back in January.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm trying to work on a rebrand for my old blog and everything.
Okay.
So keep an eye out for that too, and hopefully some more stuff.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that. Like I said, I know you're passionate about writing and everything too, so you get those opportunities to blog and write and things like that. So looking forward to it. So again, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, many blessings to you and your family
You
as
too.
well. And like I said, you're on the call for some. We got to talk some golf.
Yes.
Maybe we'll do a preview maybe in January before the season starts. I'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah.
I'm always looking forward to a big preview episode. So yeah, we'll be in contact. We always in contact. So
Yes.
we'll connect on that. So be on the lookout for an invite for some with the new golf season coming up in January. So I look forward to it. But again, many blessings and happy holidays to you and your family as well. Thank you again.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Have a good one.
You too.